Welcome back to another live audit. And if you've not been here before, this is where I go through a website that I'm requested to go through and have a look at the search engine optimization and the user experience of the site to come up with a plan to take the business to the next step. The idea behind these isn't to try and go from A to Z in one step because no business ever does that. It's just about maybe what you could be thinking about for the next 12 months and where you could be going. And today we're looking at Dinky Dodo, which is a reusable nappy website, a reasonably new shop, I believe. And we're going to get straight into it. The First off, I have a look at the website and think, well, how does the website appear to me? I'll do a little bit of analysis of some of the competitors and see, how it fits in the marketplace. But we'll get straight on with what I see in the website at the moment. Okay, so it's dinkydodo.shop, so it's a .shop site. Um, 5 years ago, that wouldn't have been a great idea, I don't think. But these days, these kind of shops, .shop sites, and the things are fine generally, as long as there's some other credible evidence, a Facebook page, Instagram, something that shows that there's someone real behind it. Looking first off, so I can see the logo, which is kind of, it's nice and friendly, it's warm, there's a smile on the face of the dodo, it's got a nice feel to it. These elements around it I find quite distracting. There's a search there, I don't know whether, can I, oh yeah, there's not even quite a box there, I can't particularly see a box, but I think the logo would just look better if it was maybe on the left and some of these things were on the right. It all looks a bit spread out and a bit stuck nowhere particularly. We just have a very quick look on the mobile site. I'm not sure whether the mobile site is quite working. It looks like it's just shrunk down. I would check that. I would want to be 100% sure. Some sites don't always respond correctly in this way, but it may be that the site's not quite working from a responsive perspective. I'm not 100% sure. I need to try it on my mobile, but something for you to check. Right, so getting on with it a little bit. I think the first thing I see is that there's not much space around anything. There's lots for me to look at, and everything is vying for my attention. And from a user experience point of view, the best thing you can do is to try and get them to have a look at one thing. And the one thing really here should be some kind of key message, which is, presumably something to do with reusable nappies and why they're important or something like that. And that's not really represented here. It's very much just straight into, I'm going to try and sell you, I'm going to try and sell you, I'm going to try and sell you, sell you, sell you. Yeah, actually, that's interesting. That's not specifically sell you. This is all sales, sales, sales. There's a lot of it's I'm trying to sell you something, and that may be right for some of the audience, but I would say it could be a bit friendlier in terms of, well, certainly being more spaced out for one thing. Everything's right next to each other, and that makes it very hard to read. But I have nothing to read about the site, um, why it exists. Is it your own reusable nappies, or is it you're selling everyone else's? I don't know enough about why that what this site really is at the moment. I can see here there's a free delivery, which is good. It was also up here, so we've kind of duplicated bits of information, and that as well is duplicated. Now it may be because as you go on, possibly on other pages, that's still there. Is that the case? Yeah, that's probably why it's there. I would be cautious about having too much information that's duplicated because people just start thinking, well, I'm not going to bother looking around quite so much. The thing that actually I would probably want to click on of all of this is actually this tailored advice. I don't really quite know what it is. Ah, okay. Okay, so it's just a contact form. I don't think that quite met up to my hopes and expectations. I don't know what those were, but I don't feel like it really did. It didn't. I've now got to get in touch with you and things. I don't know what else I could have been expecting, but I don't feel like it did very much for me. Just going straight into a contact form. At the very least, having some text at the top, explaining your process or something to draw me in would have been fantastic. Okay, so we've got what's new, but there's another thing here that's new. These four here and then this one, and that's confusing me a bit. I don't know why that's in a different section. We think you'll love. This is the stuff obviously you're looking to sell, or certainly your best sellers potentially. Again, all very, very, very cramped up. Shop kids clothing, shop nappies, shop washable wipes. Kind of hard to read these on these last two because they're quite light pastels. I'd go for a darker text on those. Shop kids clothes, shop nappies. I wasn't even expecting kids clothes particularly. Washable wipes, and then we've got Instagram stuff, and then down here. Okay, so it's really important to have some kind of trust stuff on here, and this helps people to believe that there's something real, um, or someone real behind the site. Um, Reviewers on Trustpilot. Let's go and have a look at that. I actually think you should be having this on your website. I'd take some screenshots of some of these and I put you on the website. I put them on the website because I don't know who you are. If I'm a new person, I don't know who you are, and it would just help to make me feel like this is a real business. Is there an about? There's an about. There's a story. Yeah. Okay. Um, and there's a blog as well. I didn't spot that. So the top menu is very much again about um, I'm trying to kind of sell, and not too much about things like contact and stuff. And I always like to see something up at the top, like a contact or something like that. We'll go at a close look. So, okay, so that's something very specific. And then a reusable wipes post. These, so that one was done in April, and then this one is not been done so recent. Has been done more recently. Okay, let's go and have a look at page. Let's have a look at washable wipes. That was mentioned, wasn't it, on the homepage? Okay, so this looks structured well. This is how I recommend doing a what's called a category page on a shop. So a smallish amount of text at the top which explains what they are, but not going too much into huge depth and throwing lots of words at Google. Google gets that these are products. It knows what you're trying to sell. Yeah, that's pretty good. And I can see from that it's available and indexed or indexable by Google, so Google can see that page. If we go to an actual page, so it looks pretty good. I think the one thing I would say is that because of the design, everything's just against white, and there's very little space in between things again, and so this from here onwards it all just kind of blends into one. Product info, certainly related products, and then into the footer. The footer, footer's often a dark with white text, for example. That can be a real, benefits, in at least having a section of the page which is, visually different. Related products, okay. You have a. Do I get to see those? I don't get to see them. Okay, I get to see them like that. Okay, then we can go add to basket. Now I know what I probably would do here, but someone who wasn't quite so used to sites, they would have hit add to basket, and then they're thinking, well, what do I do next? because they partly scroll down and they're not going to see that which has changed at the top. I don't know whether you'll have options to change that, but I would certainly suggest it. Shipping $2.99, that's all nice and clear. Check out with PayPal. Secure shopping. I mean, this looks okay. It's fairly clear. I'm not going to go through and because I'm not going to buy any of the products, obviously. But you know, that doesn't look too bad. Let's have a look at page titles across the site. So Google takes a real big notice of page titles. Not necessarily that by having the right page title you'll suddenly rank amazingly for a search term. That's not ever going to be the case, but it does expect a page title to really represent that page. So Dinky Dodo, reusable nappies and accessories, that's kind of okay actually. I can't, you know, you could do more with it, but I don't think that's a bad page title at all. So let's go and have a look at a category page like this. Washable wipes. Okay, so there's a real common theme, I think, with a lot of shops to just be very specific and say washable wipes. The format of the page title, by the way, is fine. You have the your brand on the right and the information on the left, but washable wipes. Well, I suspect that there are. Maybe I'm wrong. This is not exactly my area, but are there other things that are washable wipes, or are they always this kind of product? I don't know whether that's the case, but I think, you know, certainly you could be, you know, clearer about these washable wipes and what they really are, and the fact that they're, you know, for babies and things. So you've got some text here. They're so simple to use whether you choose to use cloth nappies or not. So you could have a little bit more information here, I would say. So washable wipes. For cloth nappies or not, I don't know. This is not my area, as you can tell. But certainly there would be, you know, more that you could do with it with a page title. I would suggest trying to use more of the space that you've got available. You have about, I don't know, 60 characters or something of that kind of order to fit in, and there's definitely more that you could say. Let's go and have a look at a product. Pop-in reusable bamboo wipes. Is that what someone's going to search for? Is that exactly what someone's going to search for? You know, bamboo wipes, for example, or pop-in reusable bamboo wipes. I don't know whether that is or not. You will know better than me. I would go and have a look at your products and your product pages and things, and see whether you can be a little bit more descriptive of the kind of things that people will actually search for in Google. And we'll come on to this in a short while. The info, why we love them, that's nice. I like that a lot. There's a lot to like here. You know, the site in general is nice. It's well structured from an SEO point of view, I would say. Nappy liners. Yeah, again, it's just got the page title of nappy liners. I think there's more that you could do. Filters are always very welcome on sites. People will like to see that. From an on-site point of view, as in what your site's got, it's not too bad. I do so that really could do with more text, I would say. 2, 3, 4 lines is great for a site like this, just so Google understands, definitely understands what's on the page. Yeah, be a little bit more, give a little bit more. Help people out. Think, you know, what does someone want before they go and start having a look down at the products. You know, what do they want to know about eco living, and maybe even why it matters, or why it matters to you. Clothing accessories, Toby Tiger. So this is the clothing section. I mean, again, that's just got a title of Toby Tiger, which is a presume a brand name, yeah. at the very least, Toby Tiger clothing and accessories for a page title, and again, it doesn't have any text on it. Be excited about the products that you're trying to sell, especially if they're products that you're not making directly yourself. Um, there's a lot of good stuff here. You've got the basics right. The structure of the site is correct. The everything is all of the major pages are available from the menu, which means they're available throughout the site. Google will like that. You have, as I say, there's a few UX things that maybe you could do a better job of. Blog is where I would say that you definitely could be doing more. Posts look really nice visually. You've given it a rating and things. I like that. My little gamut. A closer look. So we'll talk about page titles, but my suspicion is that My Little Gamut, a closer look, is not actually what people will want. If this is a brand, which I strongly suspect it is, really a review of My Little Gamut, I would suspect will have some search volume. We'll come on to that again in a little while. A bit about it's missing headings. Headings are really important to Google. We'll just go and have a look very quickly at the structure of the site. So it's got 3 H1s, which used to be a really, really bad idea, but Google isn't so bothered these days, I don't think. Although I still wouldn't have free delivery on all orders as and this as an H1. If you can turn that off so they're just normal text, that would be better. And then you've got recent posts and reusable wipes. It needs some H2s, at least some H2s in it. When you're trying to structure something like this, you need to do some research about what it is that people are going to care about. When they come onto this page, they want to skim. They want to go down very quickly and work out, is this going to be relevant to me? Now, you do have some effectively what are headings here, but they aren't marked as headings. They're not an H2 or an H3. So a bit about the brand is relevant to some extent, but I would be more specific. So a bit about My Little Gamut. That will help Google understand even more that, you're about this page is about My Little Gamut. And the final verdict, you could just put, the final review verdict or something. Again, it'd just be nice to highlight more that this is a review. I think many of these sections could have headings, small headings. Again, they could be H3s. Just so you understand, so an H1 is the top level of a heading. Underneath that is multiple H2s, and within each H2 can be multiple H3s, and you can go in further than that if you want to, but most people don't tend to. But Google doesn't tend to bother so much what heading particularly you use. It just wants headings, and then it wants to know that you've really covered that topic completely. So a little bit about pocket nappy. So the nappy is fully lined with by, I think, is that not quite right? Fully lined with bamboo fleece. It's super soft, even after washing, blah, blah, blah. I'd have another heading there, and then I'd maybe have another heading here. I'd also look to shorten some of your your paragraphs. So I would probably make this 3 paragraphs. People don't like to read large amounts of text in any one go. That's the biggest problem that I see consistently on websites. It's that it's just content's just too many lines in one go. This is pretty much perfect. 4 lines or something like that is absolutely fine. Maybe you could get to 6 because you've got these images and the line length is not very long, but still make it really, really nice and easy for people. So brand, blog, I think, definitely you could do more with some headings. And I'm gonna hazard a guess if I go and have a look at some of these. There's not really going to be any headings on these either, unless that's done by your theme. There's 5H3s. I wonder whether that's what they are. Yeah, so you've got all of those as H3s there, filtered by blah 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 blah, and all of those things. Filter by shouldn't really be an H2, but I'm gonna hazard a guess you probably can't fix that. And I suspect each of those is an H3. Yeah, I mean, there's the little tweaks you could make, but I think Google will at least understand what the page is and things. So I wouldn't be worrying too much about the little details, at least at this stage, until further on. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. I did find your a couple of competitors. So Little Pants. I found these from SEMrush, which I'll show you shortly. This looks like it's a site which has been around for quite some time and has a lot of traffic, or a reasonable amount of traffic going to it. There's also the reusable nappy shop, which I'm going to use this as a bit of an example here of the difference in UX. I feel like I can see sections on this, and it feels a lot more calm to me because of that. I think with your site, certainly if we have a look at the homepage, it is just all really crammed in. If you were to be able to move to something which is a little bit more like this, I think that would do a lot more for you. It's just cleaner and clearer and easier to see. So I mentioned that I found your competitors. So I use a site called SEMrush, which a lot of SEOs and also business users use. I'm going to drop a link below. If you want to do a 14-day trial, you can click on that. Normally it's a 7-day trial, but I do have a relationship with the company, so I'm just being really honest. I get a small kickback if you sign up for this. I recommend SEMrush. I use it and I have it myself. We'll go through some of the things that you can do with it, and obviously you can make a decision on whether you think it's relevant or not for your business. But every search engine optimizer in the world will have, or virtually all of them will have, one of two tools, and SEMrush is one of them. And certainly SEMrush is the other one is called Ahrefs, or Ahrefs as people often call it. That's more of a professional link building tool, whereas this is just more all round business for a business site for people. So I popped in your domain here, and I can see that it looks like you've not been around for too long. So if we just go and have a look at the last year in terms of your traffic, at the moment, you're not really getting very much in terms of traffic, and that's understandable because of where you are at the moment. This is, some of your competitors, and I mentioned Little Pants here, which has a large amount of keywords and things. So they rank quite well for a fair amount of terms, and they probably get about 100 visitors a month from search engines, something of that kind of order. And you can go and have a look at what it is that they rank for. Just wait for a second. Here we go. So these are the things that they rank for, and the based on the amount of traffic that they're getting. So 70 people a month are searching for their brand as well, which is great. Really, really a good sign for to to Google if people are searching for your brand. But they're ranking for some reasonable terms: bamboo terries, terry nappy folds. A lot of terms they're not particularly ranking too highly for, but they're not doing too bad. And I think they've been around for a little while, and they're certainly compared to some of the others, they're doing fairly well. You can have a look at some of the others. Nature Babies here, they look like they are a step upwards. So there's 400 and something visits a month to Nature Babies. Now they're a British manufacturer of cloth nappies and wraps, so it looks like they are actually a manufacturer themselves. Okay. So yes, so Nature Babies is, would be one to kind of have a look at. And coming back to yourself for a second, in terms of your own rankings at the moment, you are ranking for Terry's, so you're ranking position 8 for Terry's, which is good. Nature Babies Wraps, you're ranking 8th for, which is also good. So this is, I would suspect, a category page. Yes, so it's a category page. So Google likes that page. Google's happy with that page. And, as I say, it's got enough information on it. There's some information about how to use them. Some of these words will be important for Google to see on a page. And the reason they will be important is because there will be a relationship with, for example, the word Terry's and the word nappy nipper. Muslins, I would suspect, is also another important word. Newborn will be another important word. Absorbent may well be an important word. Google looks at some of the terms and says, well, how many ticks have you really put in the box of proving that you really understand that subject? And this looks like a good piece of text, I would say. Maybe you can use this as a bit of a benchmark for the text on your other pages. So at the moment, you are relatively new and you're ranking mostly down in the 30s and the 40s and those kinds of things. A few of them a little bit higher, but most of your traffic really is coming from these two as things stand. There'll be work that you can definitely do to improve that, but let's move on a little bit. So I'm going to have a look at your Instagram briefly. So I can see that you've got 2,000 something followers and you're following 1,300. That's good. 350 posts or thereabouts. They're getting a reasonable amount of likes and comments. I like the fact that you've got 0 waste week. I think your Instagram looks really, really strong. I think you've done very, very well with that. Just have a very quick look at Facebook. Again, 0 waste week, which is good. It's all about your brand, obviously. You have a shop over here. Presumably these are your best sellers. Is that right? Yeah, I mean you're getting a little bit of interaction, but not huge amounts. Certainly your Instagram seems to be in a better place, and you've got a few hundred followers. Okay, so Instagram and Facebook, I'm sure, is where you're really getting the majority of your traffic at the moment, and your sales. Now, we talked about content very briefly. I think if we're talking SEO for a while, I don't think there's anything wrong with the structure of your site. I think the structure of your site is fine. Google seems to be able to access the various pages. There doesn't seem to be any obvious issues, although I could go and do a massive audit of the site, but just as a general look round, I think you're probably in an okay place. I think you definitely could improve page titles and titles on pages, and on some of these pages have a think about what words you really might want to be using to demonstrate some knowledge and experience of these topics and these products. But you'll also need to be going and looking at how you can get some links into your site. If you've not done much with SEO before, one of the more important ranking factors for ranking higher in Google is the amount of links that are coming into your site. And as things stand at the moment, I don't think you. Oh, sorry. I don't think you have a massive amount coming in. I did this previously, so I put in your site and the two competitors, and these are some of the links that the other sites have, which you don't have. So if we go and have a look down here, for example, one of your competitors has got links from Flintshire Government, which is amazing. So if you open one of these links, they've actually linked down here to a number of relevant businesses, and you might want to go and have a look at that and other relevant sites to see whether you can get yourself added into those. They would be amazing. The Green Parent has linked to one of your competitors as well. These kinds of sites are amazing. So they are editorial, as in someone has to choose. If there was a way to get them to review something of your site, that would be amazing. Obviously, it would have to be something maybe that you are making. I suspect that's what they're really doing. They're reviewing direct products, but you could have a look through this and other equivalent sites. If you can find a reason, find a reason for these people to link to you. Maybe one thing you could do is get out on the streets and go and, well, not the streets at the moment, obviously in the pandemic, but go and ask people questions, poll them, find out some stats, try and ask people on a group, a Facebook group, how many of their children use these kinds of products, how many don't, why, etc., etc. Might give you a reason to go and approach some of these people. But also, I'd say, go and make friends with a few of them on social as well. A lot of these people will hang out on a particular platform, might be Twitter, for example, and you can go and find those companies and just start to become friends with them and see what it is that they need, and one day you might find that you can go and help them, and suddenly that'll get you a link. Now the SEMrush backlink gap utility is great for adding in multiple domains here and going and trying and find out which ones are getting links from where. And also you can go and have a look at, and it looks like none of them have got links. This is how many of the site have got links to a particular, from a particular company. Now, if you find, say you've got 4 up here, and 3 of those have got links from from a particular company, what you'll often find is that they are a very good bet for going and getting trying to get a link from. So going and getting links, really, really important. You could also have a look at, trying to do some kind of interest piece for a local newspaper, maybe, just something that will start to build the amount of links that you have. Because as things stand, you don't have a lot of links. Now, the keyword gap utility, and I'll show you me putting this one in. So this is you. This is site number 1, and this is site number 2. You can add extra ones in, more competitors here if you want to. This will work out what extra terms you could be ranking for because other people are. So baby wetsuit, I don't know which one of these are and aren't relevant to your business, but you can then go and have a look at them and say, well, I should really have a page called called this. First off, one thing I would say is, when it comes to your blog, you certainly should have all of the obvious posts written. How many reusable nappies do I need? How to wash reusable nappies? And SEMrush will actually give you, these in a list of questions, so you can go and do some research specifically on the subject. I'll do one very quickly for you here. So if we use the keyword magic tool, and we put in reusable nappies. Reusable nappies. SEMrush will allow you to have a look through all of those terms, but also it'll tell you the questions that people are asking and how many searches they have every month. There'll be there'll be a lot of these. There we go. It's tons and tons and tons of questions, and this is what you should be writing your blog posts on. Generally speaking, I mean, people often ask like how many words should a I'm just going to go to here as well. How many words should a blog post be? There's no specific answer to that, unfortunately. But generally speaking, I tend to suggest 800 to 1,000 words is a good starting point. The most important thing is to cover the topic thoroughly and to have all of the subtopics within it, within the article. That's really, really important. So this is another section of topic research on the topic of reusable nappies, and you can see there's a lot of terms which will be relevant. So you can click show more. You can have a look at questions and things again. What are the pros and cons of cloth diapers? How much of a hassle are they? And so on. They would be great topics to be writing about on your blog. So as a bit of a kind of a finish up now, I think there's where you are now and where you would like to be in a year's time. I'd say within a year's time you'd like to have a lot more search engine traffic coming into your site. Now you're going to do that by doing three key things, I think, given where you are. I think you need to finish up or improve the page titles across the site, make them just much better, and also improve the content. I think you need to go and get some links into your website, and I think you need to go and start writing some blog posts which answer the common questions, and those are the three things I would be looking at. The other thing that you could do, and I did have a quick check before actually, was on your Facebook page whether you're doing any Facebook advertising or not, and it doesn't appear that you are. That would be a very obvious thing for you to be doing. If you do get into that, you need to be fairly clear about how much money you're really making. So if you're not aware of how to use things like the Facebook pixel and those kinds of things, I would suggest going and looking at some maybe YouTube videos or a course or something like that on Facebook ads before you go and do it. You can spend a lot of money and get very little for it. And there's an enormous amount of targeting that you can do. So obviously, you'd be wanting to target, parents who've, got young children. So that would be another thought for you in terms of how you could maybe grow the business. And Facebook ads for some businesses can be extremely effective depending on your profit margins and things on the products that you've got. So I think that's where I'll probably finish. I think you've made a really good start with the site. I think you've made a really good start with the business, and tweaks and changes aside, I think this looks like a good site. It looks like an effective business. It's somewhere that I wouldn't have any issues doing, buying from. It looks like a serious business. So I think, that's a great thing. I would definitely make more of your Trustpilot reviews on there. I'd say 5-star, blah blah blah, and I'd be getting Trustpilot reviews from everyone you possibly can. Reach out to them and try and build that up as much as you can. 30, 40, 50 of them would be great. So best of luck with the business. If you think I can help at all, feel free to reach out. If you want to use SEMrush, there is the link below if you want to use that. I think you would probably get some benefit from that, at least in maybe your first year as you start to grow the business. For anyone else who's listening, if you haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'm doing these on probably a weekly basis at the moment. If you'd like me to do your site, then feel free to leave it in the comments below. I always appreciate likes and comments. If you have any comments and thoughts of your own, or any questions for me on how to do this kind of stuff, how to improve your online marketing, then feel free to reach out and leave me a comment below.